There are moments in life when you feel an unusual stirring in your spirit, an unexplainable shift that makes you restless, eager, and yet uncertain. It feels like something is changing, but you can't put your finger on it. You pray, you seek answers, but God remains silent. What if I told you that this silence is a sign? What if the very confusion you're experiencing is evidence that something greater is on its way? God does not prepare ordinary vessels for extraordinary blessings. He refines, He stretches, He tests, and He purifies. If you have been feeling an unusual pressure, an overwhelming sense of waiting, or even an unexpected shift in your circumstances, don't ignore it. Stay with me till the end of this message, because what I am about to share might be the very confirmation you've been seeking. When God is about to release something great into your life, He first prepares you to handle it. Many people miss their season of breakthrough because they don't recognize the signs of divine transition. God does not give big blessings to those who are unprepared. He ensures that when the blessing arrives, you are equipped to steward it well. That's why the process before the blessing is often filled with trials, unexpected delays, and sometimes even loss. You must understand that the bigger the blessing, the greater the preparation. One of the first signs that something big is coming is that you start experiencing unusual disruptions in your life. Suddenly, things that once worked for you begin to break down. Doors that were always open suddenly close. Relationships you thought were strong start to fall apart. You try to hold on, but everything seems to be slipping through your fingers. This is not a punishment. It is God's way of repositioning you. Before God gives you something new, He often allows the old to be removed. Abraham had to leave his homeland before he could receive the promise. Joseph had to be thrown into a pit before he could reach the palace. What looks like loss is often a divine shift in disguise. Another sign that something big is coming is that you feel unusually isolated. You may find yourself in a season where people misunderstand you, where you feel disconnected from those around you, even from those you once relied on. This isolation is not accidental, it is intentional. God isolates you when He wants to reveal something to you that others cannot comprehend. Jesus often withdrew to solitary places to pray. Paul spent years in the wilderness before stepping into his calling. There are revelations that can only come in the quiet, in the stillness, in the absence of distractions. When God is preparing to elevate you, He will sometimes remove voices from your life so that you can hear His voice more clearly. You may also notice an increase in spiritual attacks. The enemy does not waste his resources on those who are not a threat. If you are suddenly facing increased warfare, doubts, temptations, financial struggles, emotional battles, it is because you are on the brink of something powerful. The devil is afraid of what you are about to step into, and he wants to discourage you before you get there. But remember this, the enemy only attacks what he fears. The resistance you are facing is proof that you are carrying something valuable. If you weren't dangerous to the kingdom of darkness, you wouldn't be a target. There is also a sense of restlessness that comes before a breakthrough. You may feel like you no longer fit in places that once felt comfortable. The conversations that once excited you now seem empty. The things that once satisfied you now feel meaningless. You may also notice that opportunities begin to come in unexpected ways. Suddenly, doors that were once closed start to open, but not in the way you expected. You might meet someone who introduces you to a connection that changes everything. You might receive an idea, an instruction, or a conviction that leads you in a new direction. When God is about to do something big, He orchestrates divine connections. The right people will start appearing in your life. Unexpected resources will come your way. The problem is, many people do not recognize these moments. They overlook small opportunities because they expect something grand. But God often moves in ways that seem insignificant at first. Another major sign is that your faith is being stretched like never before. You may find yourself in situations where you have no choice but to trust God completely. Your resources may dry up, your plans may fail, your strength may run out. This is because God is shifting you from self-reliance to total dependence on Him. He will allow you to reach the end of yourself so that you can experience the fullness of His power. If you have been feeling like you are at a breaking point, don't give up. This is the place where miracles happen. God will also test your obedience in small things before He entrusts you with bigger things. You may feel a sudden conviction to let go of certain habits, to walk away from certain relationships, or to make difficult choices that don't make sense to those around you. God is watching your willingness to follow Him without question. The rich young ruler wanted to follow Jesus, but he was unwilling to release his possessions. God will always ask for the thing that has your heart before He gives you what is in His hand. If He is prompting you to surrender something, it is because He is making room for something greater. And lastly, one of the most profound signs that God is about to give you something big is an overwhelming sense of expectancy. You can't explain it, but deep in your spirit you know something is coming. You may not see any evidence of it yet, but your faith is being stirred. This is because your spirit is picking up on what is happening in the unseen realm, just as a pregnant woman begins to prepare for a child she hasn't seen yet. Your soul begins to prepare for what God is bringing. If you are experiencing any of these signs, do not be discouraged. Do not give up. The discomfort, the isolation, the waiting, the warfare, all of it is proof that you are on the verge of something greater. God is not punishing you. He is preparing you. Stay faithful, stay obedient, and most importantly, stay expectant. Because when God is about to give you something big, He always gives you signs, if only you have eyes to see them. When God is preparing you for something beyond your imagination, He begins to refine you in ways that may seem painful, confusing, or even unfair. But every challenge, every delay, and every moment of uncertainty is a divine setup for what is coming. God does not move. You may have noticed that your plans are no longer working the way they used to. The things that once brought you success are suddenly ineffective. The strategies that used to open doors are now leading to dead ends. This is a sign that God is shifting you into a new dimension. He is closing doors not to punish you, but to redirect you. When Elijah was fed by the ravens at the brook, there came a time when the brook dried up. Not because God had abandoned him, but because it was time for the next assignment. If the brook had remained full, Elijah would have never moved forward. God allows certain things to dry up in your life so that you do not remain in a place that is no longer meant for you. Sometimes the greatest frustration comes when you feel ready, but nothing seems to be happening. You pray, you fast, you seek God, but the heavens seem silent. What you don't realize is that silence is part of the process. God is testing your heart in the waiting season. Will you still trust Him when nothing is changing? Will you still worship Him when your prayers seem unanswered? Many people miss their breakthrough because they allow impatience to drive them out of position. They take matters into their own hands instead of waiting for God's timing. But there is a difference between delay and denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't happen. God is watching how you handle the waiting, because the way you wait determines the way you will walk in the blessing when it comes. During this time, you may also experience betrayal from people you least expected. Friends who once stood by you may suddenly turn away. People you trusted may misunderstand you or distance themselves from you. This is one of the most painful parts of preparation, but it is necessary. God removes the wrong people from your life before He elevates you. Not everyone is meant to go where He is taking you. Some relationships are seasonal, and if you try to hold on to them beyond their season, they will only hinder your progress. Judas had to betray Jesus so that the crucifixion could take place. Joseph's brothers had to betray him so that he could reach Egypt. What feels like rejection is often divine protection. God is pruning your circle because He does not want you to carry unnecessary baggage into your next season. You may also begin to feel an unusual level of discomfort in your current situation. Things that used to satisfy you no longer bring you peace. You wake up feeling like you were meant for more, even though you don't know what that more is yet. This is because God is stirring your spirit. He is creating a holy dissatisfaction so that you do not settle where you are. The children of Israel had to feel the discomfort of slavery before they were ready to leave Egypt. Sometimes God allows discomfort to push you into destiny. If you feel a divine restlessness, do not ignore it. It is a sign that you are being called to something greater. At the same time, you may notice that your faith is being tested like never before. The things that used to be easy now require a deeper level of trust. The situations that once had clear solutions now require you to walk by faith, not by sight. God stretches your faith before He enlarges your territory. If you are facing challenges that seem impossible, it is because God is strengthening your dependence on Him. He does not want you to rely on your own ability, your own wisdom, or your own resources. He wants you to trust Him completely. When Peter stepped out of the boat, he had to trust that Jesus would sustain him on the water. When God is preparing you for something big, He will ask you to step into the unknown before you see the provision. There will also be moments when God asks you to let go of things that are familiar. He may call you to leave a job, walk away from an opportunity, or release something you thought was part of your future. This is one of the hardest tests of faith because it requires obedience without explanation. Abraham was called to leave his homeland without knowing where he was going. He obeyed because he trusted God's voice more than his own understanding. When God is shifting you, He will ask you to walk away from things that no longer align with where He is taking you. If you hold on too tightly to what is fading, you may miss what He is bringing. Another sign that something big is coming is that you begin to receive divine insight and revelation. God starts to open your spiritual eyes to things you never noticed before. Scriptures that you have read many times suddenly take on new meaning. You begin to discern things in the Spirit that others cannot see. This is because God is increasing your wisdom for the next season. He is giving you the ability to recognize His voice in ways you never have before. The more you seek Him, the more He reveals. This is why your hunger for His presence increases during times of transition. You may find yourself craving more time in prayer, more time in His Word, and more time in worship. Do not ignore this hunger. It is evidence that you are being positioned for something greater. And as God prepares you, you may also notice that doors begin to open in ways you never expected. People you have never met before suddenly show up in your life to offer guidance, support, or opportunities. Divine connections begin to form. The right conversations take place at the right time. This is not coincidence. It is divine alignment. When God is ready to shift you, He sends the right people into your life. He positions you in the right places. He orchestrates moments that seem too perfect to be random. Pay attention to these moments because they are part of the preparation process. But even as doors open, there will also be moments when things seem to get worse before they get better. This is where many people give up. Just when they think they are close to their breakthrough, opposition increases. Everything seems to go wrong. They begin to question whether they heard God correctly. But what they don't realize is that the greatest attacks come right before the greatest breakthroughs. The enemy always fights hardest when he knows you are about to step into something powerful. If your battles have intensified, it is because you are on the verge of something big. Do not retreat now. Do not give up when you are this close. Through all of this, God is watching your response. Will you trust Him even when you don't understand? Will you stay faithful even when things are difficult? Will you keep walking when the path is unclear? Because those who endure, those who remain steadfast, are the ones who receive the fullness of what God has promised. Many people forfeit their blessing because they stop too soon. They let fear, doubt, and frustration pull them out of alignment. But if you can hold on, if you can keep trusting, if you can keep pressing forward, you will see the manifestation of what God has spoken over your life. God does not make mistakes, because if He has allowed you to go through these trials, it is because He is preparing you for something greater. If He has let certain things be removed from your life, it is because He is making room for something better. Every tear, every setback, every lonely night has been part of the process. Do not lose heart now. The breakthrough is closer than you think. When God is preparing you for something extraordinary, He allows a process that will refine you in ways that often feel uncomfortable. The process is never easy because it is designed to shape your character, build your endurance, and prepare your heart for the responsibility that comes with greater blessings. Many people desire a breakthrough, but few are willing to endure the transformation required to receive it. The anointing that God places on your life requires preparation, and that preparation often comes in the form of challenges, pruning, and stretching beyond what you thought you could bear. There will be seasons when everything feels like it is falling apart, but in reality, things are falling into place. The things you once relied on may begin to fade, forcing you to depend on God like never before. He allows these moments not to destroy you, but to bring you closer to Him. When the Israelites wandered through the wilderness, they experienced lack, discomfort, and uncertainty. But it was all part of the journey toward the promised land. God was teaching them to trust Him daily for provision, to rely on Him for guidance, and to depend on Him for victory. The same is happening in your life right now. You may find yourself in a season where doors are closing, opportunities are disappearing, and the things you used to enjoy no longer satisfy you. This is because God is shifting your focus. He is pulling you away from temporary distractions so that you can prepare for eternal purpose. Many people miss their calling because they refuse to let go of what is familiar. They hold on to relationships, jobs, and routines that no longer serve them. But when God is about to do something new, He removes what is old. He cannot pour new wine into old wineskins. He cannot take you into the next level if you are still clinging to the past. God will also begin to test your ability to walk in obedience. He may ask you to do things that make no sense in the natural. He may instruct you to step into unknown territory, to give when you feel like you have nothing left, to serve when you feel unappreciated, or to trust when everything around you looks uncertain. This is where faith is truly tested. Will you obey God even when you don't understand? Will you step out even when there is no clear path ahead? Abraham was asked to leave everything he knew and go to a land that God would show him. He had no map, no details, no guarantees, only a promise. And because he obeyed, he became the father of many nations. During this time, you may feel isolated.